All that aside, we're talking about Michael Jordan. This is going to be his show. Something that was very interesting for me is flipping through the channels one afternoon, and I happened to catch what I would later find out to be the NBA All-Star Game. Now, we didn't have cable back then, but the game used to run on NBC. So that was your antenna on top of the house type of setup, and you could get the local channels. I was scrolling through the channels, I was flipping the channels, with your customary old school remote, and I see this guy just kind of glide through the air, and he's holding a basketball in his hand. I believe he had a white uniform on that time, and I couldn't believe it. I had never seen anything like this. Basketball was not really something that we watched in my house, so I hadn't really been introduced to it at this time. And I just remember seeing something, this artistry, this poetry in motion that just completely blew me away. And that would kind of set the tone for my affinity for the game. That would grow from that point on. One of my dearest friends in the neighborhood, he and his family installed a basketball hoop, and we would spend a couple afternoons shooting around there, and I started to really enjoy playing. And then more neighborhood kids would come by, and we would play like the 2-on-2 games, and I was just like, wow, this is fun. But it wasn't until June of that year that things really took off for me, because for me, Michael Jordan and the way that he approached basketball was something that was truly inspirational. Someone that took his craft so seriously, and just he made you want to go outside and try the moves. He made you want to try to a reverse layup, a jump shot in midair, and try to hang there as long as you could, because it was just absolutely beautiful basketball that we were witnessing at this time. Now, June came around, and a lot of the sports that were being broadcast, I imagine it was WGN, something like that. You folks from Chicago can probably correct me, but local networks that were picking up a lot of those basketball games. And since we didn't have cable, I wasn't going to see a lot of the basketball that was being showcased throughout the regular season. So it wasn't until June again that I would be able to see him. So from February to June, it was kind of like a basketball hiatus as far as watching any more of Michael Jordan or even his cohorts at that time. June came around, he was in the NBA playoffs with Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers, and I was front seat right at that television set, watching these games, trying to tape them on VHS. If you guys remember the VHS tapes, the VCRs, record. I thank my parents immensely for helping me set up these peripheral devices to be able to capture this, what would end up being, some of the most classic finals in my memory. So there he was again. This guy was doing amazing things, basketball that I had never thought in my mind could be possible, and the announcers going crazy. I remember Marv Albert, just really being charged up at some of the moves that this guy was making. It seemed like he was in his own world. He just kind of suspended belief, suspended time, suspended everything, and everything was frozen as he moved through the air, as he shot his jump shots, as he passed to his teammates, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, some of those great guys, John Paxson, the notable 1991 Bulls. That set me ablaze. Now I wanted to learn more about basketball, play a little bit more basketball. I actually had a family friend. As gifts, she would give me some of the basketball that was on VHS tapes. So some of the tapes I got were Dr. J's Basketball Stuff. If you guys haven't seen it, I totally recommend it. Of course, it's dated, but I learned so much from that tape, just about the fundamentals of basketball. And then, of course, there was Michael Jordan Airtime, and I probably watched that till I burned the tape. From playing it so much on the VCR. And then also Michael Jordan's Playground was another tape that I had at that time, and I would watch those constantly over and over and over. And even if I wasn't paying attention to them directly, if I was doing homework or doing some other kind of activity in the house, I would have that running, on a loop. So I loved every minute of it. I wanted to know more about Michael Jordan. I wanted to be like Michael Jordan. He was just so cool.